Let me fire one to Susana now. The observer program that monitors the fishery for all those the cetaceans, etc. Do you feel that is there sufficient coverage? Because I've been dealing with fisheries for a long time, and the classic issue is that there's not enough observers on board. In this particular case, do you feel like the percentage, is it like more than half of the fishing vessels have observers on board, or is this some ground that can be improved in the near future?
Thank you, João. Thank you. Well, it has to do with the means that are available, and of course it is those activities have been implemented in the framework of a project, and so of course it's not ideal, but it is what is possible, and of course it's not the only source of information. There are questionnaires, there are different interviews also in port, in harbor, so it's not the only source of information. But it's a start, it's absolutely not ideal. But there are other sources of information, and ACCOBAMS is doing a huge work on that as well. And it started in 2016 with a decision to lead a massive campaign, a survey in terms of abundance and distribution of cetaceans across the whole region. And this counted with planes and boats observing, also using hydrophones for the deep diver species, of course, to understand the extent of the populations of the different species. There are 11 resident species in the Mediterranean and 3 resident species in the Black Sea. So the intention was to understand what was the trend. And these took 2 years, 2018 and 2019. And we now have a baseline so to move forward and so to evaluate and assess in future years how these cetaceans have adapted to our activities. Because of course this is not supposed to be one-off, but it's a very important baseline, so we now know. And this huge process also led to a very important outcome, which fed into the assessment that is made by the IUCN in terms of their lists of the red list of species. So we know for a fact that the situation is not good. There are few positive notes on 2 species that have improved their state, but there are 4 species that for which there were no information previously. They were data deficient, but now we know that they are in a vulnerable situation. So at least from now we can move forward monitoring the trends in terms of abundance of those species and the threats they face. And there is also an important process within ACCOBAMS, which is just to conclude the previous note, is that we have a book that has been published recently with the outcome of that survey. It's called, the survey is the ACCOBAMS Survey Initiative, and the book provides exactly considerations about each species, and you have a QR code that you can access to the information on species more in detail. So I invite you to consult our site. But basically it's this. So it's not an achieved work, it's developing as well. So it's ongoing. Yeah, thank you.